Leicester get a keeper, first new face in at Leeds, a big return at Plymouth, Coventry keep building, and friends reunited at Stoke. Here is the latest in the Championship transfer market. New signing number 4 in at Leicester is keeper Mads Hermansen, who comes in from Brøndby for $5 million, if reports are to indeed be believed. 23 years old, in the Denmark squad, and Leicester, of course, have a very good history with Danish keepers. Looks like he's going straight into their team, and if this one works out, could be a really good long-term pickup. Now, I've got to admit, was a little bit disappointed by some of the slightly overly emotional responses when I tweeted at the weekend that Leicester's business so far was bold. Do indulge me for a minute if I may talk directly to Leicester fans and indeed fans of all the relegated teams. Look, I cover this division every season, all 24 teams. I know a very quick change in status can be a little bit of a head, but the facts are very simple. In the space of a couple of months, relegated teams go from everyone beating them in the Premier League to being by far the wealthiest and powerful clubs in the Championship. Everybody understands relegated teams raise plenty of money from player sales, but fans of relegated teams need to get their head around the idea that to the majority of Championship fans, signing an England player, someone for 10 million, or maybe a keeper for 5 million is absolutely mental. Now, don't get me wrong, it's something I'm sure they would love their team to do, but that would either be impossible or a gamble that would literally threaten the existence of their clubs. Leicester have, of course, done all 3 of those things, even in just the past few weeks. And to the average Premier League team, that may not be a big deal, I get it, but like it or not, it is in the Championship. Were I a Leicester fan or a fan of any team relegated from the Premier League to the Championship, I would try my best to enjoy the advantage. My team, Ipswich, were by far the wealthiest in League One last season, so I've been there, I can relate. Deal with the change in status how you see fit, that is your choice. Some do it with empathy, some do it with humour, some try and ignore that it's there, and sadly, some get very triggered about it even being spoken about. The system is a bit screwed up, I get it. That's not Leicester's fault, but neither is it the fault of Preston, Rotherham or Plymouth fans, for example. With all that being said, let's talk about Leeds signing a centre-back for £7 million. Here is Ethan Ampadu, first one in under 49ers ownership, Daniel Farke's management, and under new technical director Greta Steinson. Busy couple of days at Leeds, right? Ampadu has come through at Chelsea. He's got loads of caps for Wales and experience there, but has been a perennial loanee at Sheffield United, Venezia, Spezia, and say it quietly, I believe he's actually been relegated at all 3 of those clubs. He can play centre-back or central midfield. Knowing Daniel Farke, my hunch is we'll see him at centre-back, but hey, we will see. Should be plenty good enough for the Championship. Time for his career to find a permanent home. Now, can Leeds be the beneficiaries? Now, this may not be a parachute team-sized fee, but Morgan Whittaker into Plymouth from Swansea could be just as impactful as any of those 2 big deals we've just spoken about. Whittaker was on loan at Argyle from Swansea last season in League One. He was really, really good for that first half of the season, but kind of became collateral in the fallout between the Swans ownership and their manager at the time, Russ Martin, in the recruitment in January. He was sent back to Swansea, but I think this deal tells us where he really wanted to be the whole time. He's known by the staff, he's liked by the fans, and this one could be a really important one for Plymouth's aspirations. He bossed it in League One. He's been in the Championship before. Can he step up? Leicester aren't the only side to bring a keeper in. QPR have replaced Seny Dieng, who went out to Middlesbrough, with Asmir Begovic, massively experienced guy. And it looks like he'll be first choice as of right now. Up at Middlesbrough, Jamie Jones has come as Dieng's backup. And at Coventry, Brad Collins has come in from Barnsley. Look, he wasn't in that Tykes team that made the playoff final last season, so this one looks more like squad depth for Cov. Someone I don't suspect will be squad depth though into the CBS is Joel Latibeaudiere. He arrives, there's compensation been paid to Swansea for this one. He was there with Steve Cooper and with Russ Martin. Does seem to have been played kind of here, there and everywhere last season. I think we might see him right wing back, right-sided centre back in a 3. Not entirely sure, but I bet Mark Robins is entirely sure. As Joel Latibeaudiere comes in, out of Coventry goes Michael Rose to Stoke City, and Rose dropped out of the Coventry back 3 midway through last season. He's been allowed to leave. He's 27, knows the level really well. Alongside Rose, maybe the most predictable sign of the summer goes into Stoke. Daniel Johnson reunites with Alex Neil at the Bet365 after his deal ran down at Preston. Look, we've joked about him being absolutely nailed on to go there, and for good reason, evidently, because that has been announced. He knows the manager, absolute stalwart of the division. Be interested to get Stoke fans' take on the profile of player they're bringing and the fee they're paying. It's clearly calmed down a lot since the early Championship days. On the one hand, you can say proven. On the other, unimaginative. What do you think? Last one today is Jason Lokilo into Hull. No, me neither. Weren't afraid to admit it. 24 years old, Belgian wide man coming in from Sparta, Rotterdam for a fee apparently, but no stranger this guy to English football. He's been at Palace, did a season at Doncaster too before his last couple of years out in Europe. He's back for another go at Hull. Good luck to him. Maybe squad depth feels a little bit like that. That's about the size of it for today. Click here if you want to either binge a playlist of all our transfer updates through the summer or see my take on the new ownership at Leeds.